something so sweet, so sweet. Oh, I just wanna give you a little taste of me, something so sweet, so sweet, like candy apples, like candy paints and candy rain. Let me put something sweet on in your ear. Give you something so sweet, so sweet. Let me candy coat you. Candy coated, candy coated. Hello, Twitch. This is Love's Passion. Thank you for joining in. We'll be started in just a moment. Sit back, take your shoes off, and get ready for some exciting conversation. Go ahead and like, share, and repost this stream. If you're listening from Facebook, just go ahead and share. If you're here on Twitch, please host the show. And remember, like and follow so that you'll be notified when we go live again. We'll be started in just a moment. You've got enough time to go ahead and bring your friends on and share this stream. We'll see you soon. I want you to want me. Haven't wondered what you're thinking. Every day, hanging out as friends. I can't wait till next time that we meet again. I walk away, hoping you'll grab my hand and share how you're feeling. I wanna tell you how you make me feel so warm inside. How all day I think of you and can't get you off my mind. When I'm with you, I hate when it's time to say goodbye. And I hope this feeling is mutual tonight. Ain't no need in playing games, 'cause I want you, I want you, I want you to want me, yeah. And I hope you feel the same. I want you, I want you, I want you to want me too, baby. I want you, I want you, I want you to want me too, baby. I want you, I want you, I want you to want me. I don't wanna seem aggressive, but why wait around on you to step to me? 'Cause I just might miss my opportunity. So here I am, showing you all my cards. I'm gambling with my heart. I wanna tell you how you make me feel so warm inside. How all day I think of you and can't get you off my mind. When I'm with you, I hate when it's time to say goodbye. And I hope this feeling is mutual. Ain't no need in playing games. 'Cause I want you, I want you, I want you to want me, yeah. And I hope you feel the same. you out of my head, baby boy, I swear. But the more I try, the more I die inside. I try to not look when I see you out hanging with her. I try to be cool as if seeing y'all don't hurt. I try to make a smile, but sometimes that don't work. 'Cause the more I try, the more I die inside. I try to keep going like everything's still all good. I try to stop myself from driving by your neighborhood. And I try to throw away your old letters, but I just can't do. 'Cause the more I try, the more I die inside. La, 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 la. The more I try, la, 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 la. The more I try, la, 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 la. The more I try. I try, the more I die inside. I try to change the radio every time I hear our song. I try to erase your number on the cell phone. I try to still be your friend, but I ain't that strong. 'Cause the more I try, the more I die inside. I walked away from you, somehow you still have my heart. And even though we've grown apart, I wish I could be where you are. I tried to get you out my mind, but it seems the more I try, the more I try, the more I die inside. Try to tell myself that I should let your memory go. I try not to reminisce about you and just give up hope. I try to keep pretending that I'm real happy for you both. But the more I try, the more I die inside. Hey guys, this is Love's Passion, and this is Love's Passion Chat. I'm coming to you here every Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Twitch, simulcast on Facebook and YouTube. Tonight we have I always say we have an amazing topic because we do. These are real people talking about real situations and real things that affect everyone's life. We have a dynamic guest tonight for our show, in addition to our awesome co-host that will be joining us in here a little bit later. Just remember, if this is, I'm just going back to, if this is your first time streaming with us or watching our show, please remember to like, share, comment, take your shoes off, and come in and sit down and have a nice conversation with some very, very nice, knowledgeable people who will be more than happy to speak to you and speak back with you. If you'd like to join into the chat, we'll give you an opportunity to do that in a little later on in the show. Tonight's topic is sexual blueprinting. I'm sorry, erotic blueprinting, not sexual, erotic blueprinting. This topic is something that's near and dear to my heart because I never knew anything about it until I started doing some research on some other things, and I fell across that. Then there was I don't know if you've seen the segment on Netflix called Love and GOP. So that was also the erotic blueprinting was also there in that show. So if you have a chance, do watch it on Netflix. It is a must watch. It's very eye-opening. We do have a professional who is going to speak to us tonight about erotic blueprinting. And without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get the show started. But if you are new to Twitch, go ahead and click that heart button and like our show and host it, as well as subscribe and follow. We're here every Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we have our Wednesday conversations. I'm Love's Passion. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Love's Passion. That's LUVSPASSION. On either of those platforms. On YouTube, it is Love's Passion _coach. And you can go back and watch some of our other episodes from the conception of this show. Today marks our 20th show, so I'm very, very, very excited about that. And we've come really far from where we started. It was rough, but we're still here and we're still pushing. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring up our co-host, starting with the beautiful and lovely Deb. Hey, Deb. Hey, girl.
Hey, everybody.
Are we having technical difficulties today?
Oh, I had to unmute myself.
What's been going on? How is everything? And your amazing birthday on Wednesday that everybody got to watch.
Yes, I appreciate that very much. Yes,
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, so had an event last night. I'm very grateful. I do not have an event this weekend, so I'm going to get some much needed rest and time to do as little as possible. So, same old living life.
The rest is very important. Rest is very important. Trust me, I know I'm not getting enough of it. All right, so it looks like I have not gotten peanut butter back in yet, so we'll bring her in when she comes. I'm going to go ahead and add to our stream tonight our guest host for tonight. I'm sorry, guest, the sexologist Deborah.
It's a Deb overload tonight, y'all.
You got both Debs. Deb's in the house. Hey, Deborah, how are you?
I'm good. I got some beach therapy today, so I'm good.
See?
What kind of therapy today?
Beach.
Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, the good, yes.
The sand
what we want. Yes. What we want. What we not getting here in beach therapy. I'm gonna digress and roll my eyes because I'm a little jealous. I need some beach therapy too. Gotta have some beach in your life. All right, so Deb, tell us a little bit about yourself. Deborah. Sorry, Deborah. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So about Deborah, I am a board certified women's health nurse practitioner and a sexologist, also an erotic blueprint coach. So I received my certification, my sexologist certification from Dr. Rachel Institute and my erotic blueprint certification from Jaya. And so, as a passionate educator and clinician, I, I just believe that everyone deserves to live life freely from shame, suffering, and judgment around their sexuality.
Mm.
So, yes, definitely so. Um, and, I'm passionately helping individuals and couples integrate healing, passion, and vitality into their relationship so they can experience the power of pleasure and deeper intimacy. So, along with, just combining all of that, I help my clients with sexual health and intimacy issues through private coaching, workshops, and retreats.
Awesome. Awesome. And you're located where?
I am in Texas, so I am available everywhere, international, because everything is pretty much done, virtual. So,
Yes.
yes, I'm everywhere.
All right. So where can they find you everywhere?
So, my website is scarletlotuscoaching.com, and that's Scarlet with one T. And my email is scarletlotuscoaching@gmail.com. So, I'll put that in the chat. And
Awesome.
also, I wanted to let you guys know that I published a book and it's available on Amazon. It's called Loving Hillwood. And also, right now, I have a special for the holiday where you get an autograph, gift wrapping, and shipping all for $25.
Oh, awesome. You said that's Love and Heal Well?
Loving Hillwood.
Hillwood.
Yes, Loving Hillwood. Yes. So,
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Loving Hillwood is a story of lifelong friends who go through life challenges together. Okay. Love, deceit, death, disappointment, all of that, and a lot more. A lot more. So when we talk about, love and passion and, just being fuckable, if I can say that,
Yes, you can.
yes, this book will inspire you that it's okay. It's great to be fuckable because everybody deserves to be fuckable and to enjoy, being fuckable. You know?
Mm,
So,
I love that.
Me
I'm gonna
too.
make a shirt.
yeah.
I'm gonna give me a shirt. I'm fuckable. Oh wait.
You's married.
Oh, y'all trying to get me in trouble with my husband. I cannot do that. I'm gonna get killed. You are what? Oh, babe. Oh, that whole conversation just went through my head. Oh, went over my head. All right, thank you, Deb, for that. It looks like we have peanut butter. I'm gonna go ahead and add her to the stream, and she is buffering. Okay, so if you're new to Twitch, there are these things called Twitch be twitching, and right now Twitch is twitching because we can't get the beautiful peanut butter in here. But we're gonna let her sit there and buffer until she buffs in. But we're gonna go ahead and continue with our with our conversation. All right, so tonight's show is erotic blueprints. And there is no one better than the sexologist, Deborah, who is certified in this, to tell you what the erotic blueprints is. I'm so excited.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dan.
All right. So the 5 core erotic blueprints, they were developed by Jaya. And as you mentioned earlier, she was featured on the Netflix show Sex, Love, and Goop. And also, she was on Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett. So basically, the show just kind of gives you a bird's eye view of some of the things that we do, because there's also other people on the show with different, sexological body workers and, things like that. But it is really, really good. So um, like you, I would advise everybody to check it out because it is very, very good. And so the blueprints. So all of us are neurobiologically wired to respond to love and sex. And so these five blueprints that Jaya developed, she did a lot of hands-on research in doing these. And they're similar to the five love languages. They're just for
Hmm.
they are just
Yes.
sex. And so I'm going to talk about those. So the first one is called the energetic. And so the energetic, they love and they get turned on by the longing, lots of foreplay, that eye contact across the room. They are more in tune and connected with their partners. Okay.
Right.
They like a
Right.
lot of space, so they're the type, and you might notice, they don't really want you like all up in their face all of a
Mm.
sudden, and if you do things like that, they're going to push back. They can get turned off by that.
Right. So let's talk some more about this one. So you
Hmm.
said the first level, well, I'm going to go back to something you just said. Just like you have the five love languages, you have the five erotic blueprints.
Yeah.
There is also um, your sex language. And we did a show over that. And when I saw the erotic blueprints, and it was really eye opening because that was the first time I had seen it. Um,
Mhm.
Doing research on it, and then when I saw it with Jaya explaining what it was, and I did some more research, and it just kind of fell into place. It kind of is like like the three senses of you. How do you love? How do you make love? And how do you show love? So it's kind of like a whole person being put together when you go into these dynamics, and to see how they tie together from, your love language is also equivalent, kind of, into your sex language as well as your erotic blueprint.
Mhm.
And well, at least for me, that I found, in my studies, I haven't seen anyone that kind of tied it together to really shape that whole person dynamic of how do they love and want to be loved, and how do they want to have sex, and then their blueprint, their sexual blueprint on how they express that sexual need and desire and urge.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything, I hadn't seen anything, but I'm not done, of course. But let's go back to the erotics.
Okay.
In my studies, I was seeing that the erotics are what I would call are nature bound. They tie into the energy of the room, the energy of the person, the just the overall chakra of the moment, if per se. And that is the thing that turns them on when they feel a certain energy, when they're receiving that certain energy, or when that energy is in tune. That's what it turns them into this sexual beast, as for better lack of a better word. I mean, am I reading that right, or is it, am I getting it off? Because,
Yes.
see, I haven't been to class for this one. I'm going as soon as you offer it again. I'm gonna go. I definitely am gonna go because I'm very, very interested in learning about this in particular. But yeah, am I getting it wrong?
No, not really. Basically, the blueprints are like, a pleasure manual, a personal pleasure manual. So it just allows you to communicate your desires, your needs, your wants, all of that to your partner and yourself if you're solo. So we can't forget
Right.
about ourselves.
Oh
Okay.
yes.
Because,
Oh, definitely.
yes, just because you don't have a partner doesn't mean you don't deserve to be pleased, right?
Exactly.
Self pleasure. Okay. And so it's very important that you know your blueprint, because if you don't know that, how are you going to communicate your needs, your wants, and your desires to someone else?
Right.
So you have to know that is really, really vital. It is.
Can we ask questions already?
Uh-huh.
With Deborah, do
Yeah.
you find with your work that people have uh, that some people have issues expressing what they need
Yeah.
in the bedroom?
Yes, they do. And a lot of times it's because of what we were taught and what we were not taught, socially, religion, all of that. And also as African Americans, your issues, you don't discuss that with anybody. You keep
Mm-hmm.
that to yourself. And what happens
Yes.
with that? You take that baggage with you. You don't express yourself.
Yes,
You
suppress.
know, all of that is in here. So basically, you are with somebody that you're just allowing them to jump up and down on you, and that's not good.
It's
It's
not
not.
really even any
Right.
fun.
No, it's not.
Right.
That's not right.
Yes. You
Oh
know.
Okay,
my
so
God.
with number one, when you say energetic,
Yes.
you literally mean energy.
Yes.
So it's not necessarily physical touch, but it's the connection with your loved one. Is
Yeah.
is is okay. I'm with you now.
There's
Yes,
a connection, and it's so much more to it than just the descriptive that I've given.
Right.
So for an example, just if you were to take, I'm going to demo here, okay, and just relax, and you start to feel the heat and the energy. Yeah, and I'm not touching my skin, but just that
right.
closeness. Okay, if
Mhm.
you are really in tune and relaxed, you can start to feel that, and it's so much more that you can feel in your body. You know
Right.
that it just
Because we all vibrate at different levels of
that's right.
energy. The body is electrically charged
It is.
just on a platonic state. We all have these different vibrations. And when you meet that one person that's on your same vibe, ugh, it
Yes.
is something I've experienced it once in my lifetime, just the energy
Hmm.
of a person, and it was amazing. Just, you can sit there and not say anything, but y'all are in tune
Oh,
to, whatever the happening is at that moment, and I find that is something for the sciences, because it's unexplainable, because you'll never know what you're missing until it happens, you
hmm.
know, until you find that person that you're vibing on with at the same level at the same time. And don't get me wrong, y'all. I mean, just like, any electrical charge, it can change. But if you are electrically charged and you're his negative or they're negative and you're positive, and you two are just really meshing at the same time, in the right space, that is something that you can't really just mimic or make up. You can't make that up, and it's not it is a sexual thing, but it is also not a sexual thing, because it is sexual. It is actually purely sexual, because you can have orgasm or come to orgasm without the penetration.
That's
I
right.
think that is the highest level of sex that you can possibly accomplish. So I think that an energetic lover, man,
Hmm.
I'm I'm waiting. Like, okay, hey,
Yeah, and
don't touch me, but touch me.
energetics are likely to have multiple orgasms. They are,
Mm,
you know,
right,
they
right.
are connected that way. Yes, they will.
All right. Hey, Brown Eyes. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. All right. So I have a question. So for an interject, you said that they are likely to have multiple orgasms.
Hmm.
I kind of can understand why, but can you elaborate on why?
Well, just that whole factor of connecting. you know. Uh-oh. What was that?
So it's okay. This is real people making everyday conversations. But you were saying,
Yes. Just that factor of connecting energetically. Things
yes,
have to be right. They have to be
yes,
right, because if they're not that energetic person, they're going to push back. They're going to
right.
push back.
I
Yeah.
see that. I think that, well, my thoughts are, have you seen in your practices that an energetic lover is more in tune with the surroundings and things that are happening at at any one given time?
That is a different one.
That's a different one.
Yeah, that is a different one. And we're going to talk
Okay.
about that one. Yes.
So, okay. So, what are some basic characteristics of energetic?
So, like I said, they like lots of foreplay. Okay. Lots of space. Okay. They like to, gaze at you from across the room. That's a turn on. And, breathing, if they can be in tune with that partner, you're breathing together, looking into each other's eyes, things like that. Yes.
Mm, mm.
I like it
So
already.
They need
breathing.
time. They need lots of time and space too. So you can't just, go in and, you know, touch the genitals and expect things to, be on. No, they're going to push back.
Okay.
They
Okay.
need
So
to be, you know, like, I don't want to say groomed because that gets into something else, but, you know,
foreplay.
yes, they need a lot of that.
Mm.
They do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a oxymoron, because when you think of energetic, you're like, energizing bunny. I'm ready. Okay, let's go. But if they need more foreplay, more emotional connection,
Mhm.
not so much touch, but those things that are uncommon, the long looks,
Yeah.
uh, you know, the whispers
Yeah.
in the ear, the to
All of
set
that.
the right energy and the right tone.
Yeah.
Um, that wouldn't have came to my mind.
Yeah.
If
Just,
that
you know,
wouldn't have came to my mind.
yeah, just building that tension, that erotic tension. They
Mhm.
like different things like, the soft teasing touch and, gemstones, things
Mm.
like that. These are, toys and, the crystals and all of that kind of stuff, things that
Right.
you can just, slowly, just please them with.
Mm. I can see
Yeah.
that. I can see that. So it's the arousal of the partner that sets the right energy for the session.
Well, they can set the session for themselves too, like I said, but that partner is important as
Mm.
well, that they don't come in too fast and too quick because
Mm.
that's just going to blow the whole deal.
Mm.
It's going to blow
Mm.
it. So if you're one of those people that, you know, you may not pay attention to, like all of a sudden, okay, whoa, why are you in my face? No, hey, wait a minute, move back some. If you never really thought about that, maybe you're energetic,
Mm. Hmm.
that
Some-
you don't want somebody that's all over you all of a sudden just bam, you know. And
hmm.
it's something to think about. It
Huh.
really.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
that is
my mind
something to
is
think
going, going, going.
about. Look, you are free to ask questions. But listen, we got our Todd Bear in here, our other co-host, and Peanut Butter. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring them in so they can jump in on this conversation. And there is Ty. Hey, Todd Bear.
Hello, family. How are you?
Oh, we
Hey,
doing great.
Ty.
We're doing great. How you
Good.
been?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Just taking care of the family. That's all. Running around trying to get the stuff together for the kids. That's all.
I understand. I understand. This is a busy man. This is a busy man.
Yeah.
So this is Deb. She is our expert guest host, and we're talking tonight about erotic blueprints. And maybe we
Ooh.
can find our blueprints in this conversation to figure out, where we're at. But first, Deborah, have you ever taken the test?
Yes, I have.
And what is your
Actually, actually, I am a sensual sexual. Flip that
hmm.
around. I'm sorry, sexual sensual.
So
And so
you
those
can
are.
be multifaceted.
Oh yes, definitely. And
Okay.
you can flow, back and forth. I mean, over time, you might find that things change for you.
Mm.
So yes, you may not just be, one or two, or you could be all of them. But we'll discuss that.
Okay.
So we
How
still
do you take that test? Where do you go to take that test?
So you can go on my website. The link is there, and you can take the quiz, and it will give you, you know, your primary blueprint. You can also have a secondary, as well, but it takes time to develop that. And, in the end, like I said, it's so much more to this than what I'm giving tonight. So if you guys are, if you really, really want to go deeper, just contact me because I
and
cannot
your contact
go over
information is in this.
everything. It's a whole lot,
Oh
so just
yes. And it's very important. It's a lot, but it's very important that you know where who you are. That's a part of discovering who you are is by knowing, this is me. I fit into this bubble. I fit into this category. And that's a part of getting to know who you are.
yeah.
I mean, even with the love languages, the sex language, your erotic blueprint,
Hmm.
whatever it is, it's studying you, and no
Right.
one's going to know you if you don't know you.
That's
So
right.
I mean, the sexual blueprint, the erotic blueprints for me was just really, really eye opening. I took the test and,
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
would you like to
I'm
share?
gonna take it again.
What is that?
I'll take it again. I think you got me wrong.
You what?
What did it say?
What
What
did
What
it
did it
say?
say,
What was
Aretha?
the result?
Said I was kinky. I don't get
Okay.
that. I don't get that.
You don't think that's the case?
No.
Look behind you on the
Hey.
wall.
Yeah.
There is nothing
This
wrong with
is
that.
a lifestyle.
Hello, it's you.
It's
The
a
way
lifestyle.
you
Miss Deborah, tell her again. There's nothing wrong with that.
no,
If that
it's,
is what you are, that's
that's
okay.
right. There's
I
nothing
want to be
wrong with
somebody
that.
You the one
else. Can I
married
be somebody else?
and happy.
But what do you perceive kinky as being?
Well, I mean, I read the definition of what they said what kinky was, you know, different and, it's physical and you like things that are not the norm. I'm okay. I might be kinky.
Okay,
I'm just
involving or giving to unusual sexual
we're
behavior.
gonna go through that. We are still on number one, which is energetic. Okay, so we're
So
gonna
we
go
are on
back.
energetic, Ty.
We are on energetic, and so
Yeah.
I got some questions, but we're gonna go over what we went through though. So energetics are uh emotionally connected. It's long glazes. It is foreplay. All of those things are necessary and needed for an energetic. My question for energetics during sex, because that would okay during sex. What are the thought processes of an energetic?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know, I think as long as they have had what they need, they've been fed, then, they can have orgasms and, like I said, multiple orgasms and all of that. But they have to have that connection, that special connection. Okay.
So an energetic
So,
isn't. I'm so sorry, Deb.
I'm not an energetic. So, as far as, somebody's thought processes, what's happening at the time that they're having sex, I don't know, unless somebody expresses that. And I haven't had anybody express, explicitly what they're going through at the time that they're having sex. They just say, oh man, that was amazing what we did together.
Mhm.
That was just mind blowing. So, yes.
So I'm only gonna go on my experience because I took the test and I was just like, this is so me, but that's gotta be wrong. So and I did when I found out what it said I kind of did more study. I kind of veered off from studying about everybody else and started studying more about myself. So I can't really tell you what they was thinking, but my thought process is, well, what it said was that I think about fantasies,
Hmm.
and they be right a little bit.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily discount that, because just because you took the quiz, that's just the beginning. There's so much more for you to go through to really, really figure out, okay, is this or am I, kinky? Because
Mm,
I can tell you, when I went through the training, there were some parts of kink that I enjoyed, that I enjoyed. And a lot of people have, this misconception that it's all about, beating somebody with whips and, chains
folks,
and all of
yeah,
that kind of stuff. That's
right.
all they think about. But it's more than that. And we'll get into that. We'll get
Okay.
into that.
Okay.
Let me see. What was my other question? Hey, Kimmy D13, thank you for joining. Remember, like, share, and host. Okay, so let me see. What was my second question? About energetics. What are some of their fantasies?
Ooh, some of their fantasies. Hmm. That's a good one. Not necessarily, that they get into fantasies. That's more of the kink part of it.
But with
I
an
won't
energetic, there's
say that they don't,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, yeah, that's not necessarily a characteristic of energetic.
Okay. Well,
but with an
because
energetic, there's got to be more of a vibe with
yeah,
or spiritual
Yes,
connection.
and they can actually, you watch the show, right?
right,
And you saw the energetic movement. Sometimes it's almost like convulsive. These
right.
things that go through their bodies and stuff like that. So yeah, I would really, really advise you guys to look at the show and see, and you'll get a better sense of, truly what an energetic goes through. Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Definitely physically, and what has to be here, that
Yes.
connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So,
for
question,
our
real quick: is it all about the mindset going into it first? Like, how do you prepare yourself going into your journey? Does that have a big significant role of how one prepares him or herself for what they're getting ready to experience, what they enjoy or don't enjoy, or what grabs them or what they would gravitate to it? Does that depend on the preparation?
That's everybody. Everybody.
This, yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. So the second level of blueprinting, of erotic blueprint, is what?
It is sensual. Okay. So the sensual type, they love to get into all of their senses. So
Mm,
touch, taste, sight, looking at things, smell, hearing, all of those things. So, your massages, they love music, things like that. The whole ambiance of lighting in the room, the scent of candles and, cologne, perfume. So really be mindful of body odor. Hygiene is definitely important. It's definitely
oh,
important.
oh
Even
yeah.
though, yes, even though we all have our own unique smells, nobody's going to be, cologne fresh.
Right.
That, our natural body odors are unique to us. And they're not going to be, you know, that fragrance that you buy at Dillard's and, things like that. It's just not going to be that way. But you still want to be mindful of that. Also,
Hmm.
they don't like clutter. Okay. So the environment has to be really, really just clean and in order and all of that. Otherwise, they'll get stuck in their head and they will not be into it. They'll be busy thinking
Mhm.
about, oh my God, you didn't, your pants are on the floor, or, why didn't you pick up your socks, and, all these different things.
Hmm.
So, but yes, they are really, really into the senses and food. You know, you can really get them with food.
Hmm.
So, and some foods, they have, what you call the pheromones, all those different things, aphrodisiacs,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mhm.
So you can get them with that. So yeah, so that's your sensual, and they like things like, the blindfolds and, soft, fuzzy,
So
things,
they're like a romantic.
bodies. Yes. They like to be touched, just sensually, all this and the massaging and, all of that. Yes.
So
I can
most of
do that.
most of what we see on TV is basically fantasizing or promoting a sensual lover, basically. Because I mean, every romantic scene you see is just, oh, it's, strawberries and honey and, soft touches, basically to excite the sensual side of, a person. Is it possible for everyone to be a sensual?
Everybody's not a sensual.
They sure are not.
Everybody's not a sensual.
Everybody's not essential.
They are sure are not.
Not a sensual.
They're yeah, they're everyone's not essential.
No.
And number three, when we get to that one, you'll understand.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, we
Can
got
we go
peanut
through them
butter. Let
all
me
and
get her
then
in.
discuss?
I'm sorry.
Can we go through them all and then discuss?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me
because
bring
what's the
peanut
exact
butter on.
opposite of
Looks like
essential?
we got her in. So let me go ahead and bring her in on this conversation because she fits.
Oh, yes. Thank
There
you.
is our pie. Hey, PB and J. We missed you,
Hey,
boo.
baby. Oh
You
my
was having
gosh, y'all can see me.
yeah.
Y'all don't know. I'm over here frustrated. I just restarted my phone like 10 times. Hi, everybody. Hey, Jimmy. Mwah.
All
Oh my
right.
God.
So y'all want to go through? Y'all want to just have her tell us all of them, and then we'll talk.
Yes. I'd like to
Okay.
know what they are, and then let's dissect.
Oh,
Okay.
let me get my pen and pencil.
I already got my notes right here. I'm ready for you, Deb. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
so you and Twish, we're gonna get your pen and paper. We're gonna go through them, and then we'll discuss. So if you got your pen and paper ready, here we go. Go ahead, Deb.
Okay, so
Deborah.
we got a Deb and a Deborah here.
Right,
So
you're right, Deb.
the third one is sexual, and it is exactly what it is. Sexual is all about sex. All about sex. They want the penetration. They don't want to go through all of the long foreplay. You touch them on the genitals, it's time to go. They're all about the end goal being orgasm, ejaculation. That's what they want. So they are also your one night standers.
Mm.
So they're all about getting it in, getting in, getting out, sticking and
Which
moving.
an energetic is less likely to be a sexual one night stander. Am I correct in my thought process?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's not that they can't be paired up with the sexual, but
Mhm.
they're gonna have a little bit of trouble. They're gonna have a little bit of trouble unless, they really, really understand each other's needs and are willing to feed each other's needs to be fully satisfied. So yeah, definitely.
All right. So we
But
got energetic, we got central, we got sexual. It's
mhm.
two more. What's the other two?
So the fourth one is kinky. So again, that is
Aretha.
that is the taboo or anything outside of your norm. Okay. They get turned on by use of inanimate objects. Okay. So there are two types. There's going to be your psychological kink, okay, which they're more of the power play, okay, just dominating and being submissive, the fantasy, things like that. And then you have the sensation. That's your second type. And what that is, that's getting into the impact, where you're talking about, the spanking, the use of ropes, stuff like that. So, yes. But there are ways to use those to where they can be very, very sensual. You don't have to, bound somebody up tight or, put your hands on somebody's neck and, choke them out, things like that. Um, and if you are really into kink, I would advise you to, really, really get some training from an expert because you can really get into kink and hurt each other. And you don't want to do that.
Mhm.
You don't want to do that. And I'm sure you guys have heard of, the erotic asphyxia, where people have been found dead, they put a rope around their neck and they're getting off and they choke out,
Mm.
because they did not have the proper training before they started doing things like that. So it's so much
Right.
more, with code words and, all that kind of stuff. But if you are really into kink and you're interested in that, learn from somebody who is an expert,
Mm.
you know, because you can have pleasure from that, but you want to live, you want to be safe, and there's, consent, there's boundaries and things like that. So you want to be, honoring your partner that way as well. So,
Okay.
Okay, so
So
we
what?
got sexual, energetic, kinky, and I think I'm missing one.
Energetic, sensual, sexual, kinky.
mhm.
Yeah, there's one more, but she said there's two levels of sex of kink.
Right, that's psych and sensual, right?
Right.
Sensation,
Sensation.
Sensation. Okay.
sensation. Yeah.
And then the fifth one.
The fifth one is called shapeshifter. They like everything.
Oh.
all of the above. So it is like the smorgasbord of sex, you know.
Hmm.
So they want it all the time. It never stops. They're
So they're
very
a well-rounded person.
yes, they're very creative. So yes, they want it all the time. So yes,
Okay.
They
All
want
right.
sex all the time.
all of the different types is,
Okay.
you know, they can shift between each one. They can shift between each one.
I actually can relate to every one of these.
Hmm.
Um, the least I think I relate with is kinky, but I'm gonna take the test as well.
Take
So
the
I'll let
quiz.
you know.
Yes, take the quiz.
After you take the quiz,
Because
I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
because now that I'm older, I think when I was younger I was more sexual, but now that I'm older, I think I'm more energetic because
Mm,
I'm not having sex unless I'm energetically connected to you.
Hmm.
So, like, I don't even entertain casual sex at all.
mm.
It's I've got to have that energetic connection to you for me to go there.
Okay.
Mm. Hey, not your average guy. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. Good evening. He says they're versatile freaks. We're gonna leave that there. All
Why
right.
you
So
have to be freaks? It's all natural.
right, it's whatever turns you on. Whatever your
All
pleasure,
natural.
that's your pleasure. That's your thing. Who are we to judge? It's your thing.
We are
Especially
all
not me.
erotic beings. Yes, but
Right.
we have to get out of that, you know, that pigeonhole that we've been put in by society. You know, for
Right.
one,
Right.
you know, it starts with your parents. You know,
Mm.
early on, stop that. Oh, don't do that. Stop that. Don't do that. You know, the shaming.
Hmm.
So, you know, you grow up with that and it's like, you know, you just subdue. And then what do we learn? How to have sex.
Mm.
Porn, right? That is our first.
Right.
Which
If
is usually
it's
not
not,
sensual.
no, if it's not from our friends, you know,
It's
most
from
of us learn
HBO.
from porno, and that's not
I
the
learned
way.
from a older, a very older woman.
I'm sorry,
I said I learned from a very, very older woman.
an older woman. Okay, all right. So you know that can be a different experience, but also, you know, when you learn from other people, that's more of the physical part of it. You know,
Right.
learning how
Right.
to perform. You
Right.
still have to, you know, figure out here and
Need
what's
to-
here in your
Hmm.
heart.
Hmm.
You
Right.
know, so it's a lot more to sex than just the physical part of it.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah, I think as I got older, I think I started to pay more attention to what's in here and what's in here.
Mhm.
For me, coming up, a lot of it was kind of like routine. Like this is just what you do, you know?
Mhm.
Mm.
So, as I got older and got more in touch with emotions and things of that nature that I had kind of separated, I began to figure out like, oh wow, like this feels really good on different levels. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
not the
Mm.
physical act. So yeah.
Yeah. And
So, Deborah, one thing that I found was really, really eye-opening was when you can think you are one thing, but you are actually another. When Jaya did the experimenting with the different items to figure out where she was on the spectrum, because
yes.
it's one thing to say something and then it's another to really, really know. And I really, really appreciated, that was pretty eye-opening because you can think one thing, you can take a test and you can, say this, but the work of the sex bot worker was really, really eye-opening, because it was more of a one-on-one experience versus, oh, I'm gonna tell you what you are and that's who you're gonna be, or you're gonna take a test. They actually got hands-on with it and went through the taste, the touch, the smells, and that person got to know what it was that they liked and what they did not like.
Yes.
By letting go of, I'm just going to tolerate this until it's over scenario. And I really, really found that eye opening. Because we're all saying, we don't know how to have sex. We don't know what we like. We know what society has told us to like, and we know how society has told us, to have sex, but our whole being is a sexual being, and we don't know that being, but we're doing it how somebody else told us to do it, which
Yeah.
just kind of didn't make any sense to me. But putting it when they did the experiments, which was also funny, was the claws, the the claws, and I was like, okay, what you gonna do with them claws? It was Wolverine claws, and I was like, I wouldn't have never put that together with something that could be sensual, and it was really, really oh God,
Oh,
Deborah.
yeah. Yeah, see your
There go
nails.
those nails. There go those nails.
Deborah,
It's all
those
about the touch, and whether or not it's light touch, or medium, or a little bit more, deeper touch. So you go
Mhm.
through all of that. And when I say, when I take people through the course, it is an 8 module course, and I do it over 16 weeks. And so
Mm,
you go through all of this. It's not just taking the quiz and
Mhm.
saying, okay, well, I'm a sexual. No, it's so
Mhm.
much more than that. You know,
Right.
healing and, just discovering. You would be surprised at what you would discover about yourself, going through this whole process. And,
Right.
in order to, have that hot sex for a lifetime, you have to be able to know you and how to communicate what you want and what you need. And it's so hard for people, again, because of our influences, whether male or female. If you were to, this is an example, if you were to jump out tonight and say, go tell your partner, you know, I want to do this to you, and you do it, and then their response is, well, who the hell taught you how to do that? Have you
Yeah.
who have you been with?
Right.
And we don't need that kind of stuff.
Right.
All of us, we have had past lives. Unless you have been with a partner since you were a virgin, then it's different. You're going to discover things together. But
Right.
you need to be open and just be receptive to
Mm.
learning things new and receiving that person. You know.
yeah, that's true. Because as a man, and you have a woman, and she starts to open up like sexually,
Hmm.
it can mess your head up a little bit. It can mess your head up, especially like if you young and you put her on a pedestal and she's innocent and she starts to open up a little bit, and it's like, whoa, okay, what was your life like? You didn't tell me all of this, like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know you.
Give us some
Okay.
examples, Todd.
It's look, that just sound like his perception of her innocence was his perception. Now she never told you.
Not reality.
Not reality. And so what happens is like, like she like, like Dad was saying, is like it's like who the hell taught you this, or what experience what experiences have you been in, circumstances have you been in to learn this or learn that, or be comfortable with this, or like this. Like I would have never
Yeah.
assumed that this would have been okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
Mhm.
so it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But isn't that I mean, because that kind of goes with the comfort level of how comfortable that a person gets with you to be able to start letting you into knowing who they are and knowing their likes and their dislikes, because you can be having missionary sex for years, and something happens to where they feel a stronger connection to you, and they're willing to take the risk of letting you in on their kink.
Hmm. And
And then that's
sometimes
where
some of us are just naturally gifted. Doesn't necessarily
naturally,
mean she's been doing that a lot, especially when
right,
we're young. We're just trying it out. And you're like,
right, and,
oh, let me do this. And you're like, oh, I think he likes that. So I'm going to keep doing this. I mean, that's how you
right.
learn.
Mhm.
And
So,
let's not discount the imagination. The imagination is a strong creature. For just a being in general, everyone has fantasies, but we all have imaginations that you can put with your fantasy to create a different outcome to different situations. You're like, hey, babe, let's try something different. Let's go have sex
Yeah.
on the coffee table, or let's
Yeah.
do it doggy style on the couch instead of the bed. That's the imagination being open and honest with the being that you're with. If you're used to the norm, it may catch you off guard. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're with someone else. They're with their imagination.
Mhm.
And
You
if they are
know,
a kinky,
tell us
they
all
may
about
come
it.
up with some stuff. I'm just saying.
yeah.
Or
You
or
know,
or
we've been so that, passion will sustain our
Mm,
intimate relationship,
right.
or if we love someone, we'll always be hot for that person.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
no, that's simply not the case. And it doesn't mean that, you don't love that person anymore or anything
Right.
like that. Things change. Things change.
Hmm.
And when I say change, when you first meet somebody, you're in that phase of everything is so exciting, and that limerence phase, uh,
Hmm.
gaga eyes, your heart is racing, all of that. Well, that may last 12 months to 24 months, but then it fades away.
Right.
So if unless you want to be, sexless best friends in your relationship, you're going to have to work on the intimacy. You're going to have to do some work. So be open to exploring, okay, and listening to your partner, and be willing to feed them, what they give them what they need, vice versa,
Mm,
and talk
wow.
talk about it.
That's some great, 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 great advice.
Don't
Not your average guy says I'm sorry, my wife and I have gotten kinkier as we've grown together. It certainly sparks the romance.
hmm
So
and
yeah.
I've told people things like, you know have an affair with your spouse, and what that
Mm,
means, is role playing.
Hmm.
you know you can be, Sasha, he can be Frank, or you can do things like, oh my God, okay, Frank is coming Saturday. Oh shit, man, that's gonna be, oh, I'm turned on already. And then he knows Sasha's coming on Wednesday, he's got a heart on right then. So
Hmm.
mm,
things like that, is all these different things that you can do.
Would you
right.
would you say, Miss Deborah, that role playing is more under the energetic category, or that could be sexual too? But would you say that's more energetic?
I mean, an energetic can do it as long as they, have the space, and, the foreplay, as long as you incorporate all those things that they need, they can still participate in something like that. But you still have to, meet their needs.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And you know what? I'm going to touch on something that not your average guy said. Um, as he's gotten older and
Mhm.
grown with his wife, they've gotten kinkier.
hmm
they haven't gotten kinkier, but they've gotten more open to acceptance of each other's sexual preferences
Yes.
versus saying, hey, you've been kinky, we getting kinky. No, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. We're pulling out all the nuts and bolts. I'm comfortable revealing to you what makes me feel good and why, and how we can make this happen versus,
That's great.
when you're in a new relationship, all of those guards are up. Oh no, I'm not gonna tell him I like to turn around, put my hands on the bed and turn my head up, put my legs on the wall. I'm not gonna tell him that. We just gonna do
Peanut
just
butter
like
wood.
everybody else. I'm filling you out.
It's
And why not?
one
Why
one
not
word
open
because we
up front?
we live under one word, and that word is judgment.
Right.
But
Right.
we need to get out of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we have the fear of judgment. We have the fear of being judged. We have the fear of looking like something that maybe we're not. We just really like this, and
Mhm.
doesn't mean that I am this this nasty freak of a person. It's just that I like this position. I like this course of actions. You know what I mean? So, but I think once we get past judgment, once we get past the fear of judgment, really, um, I think that we you will see a lot more relationships last longer. You will see, in my opinion, you will see the divorce rate drop, because all of it really boils down to judgment. You know what I mean? So
Right.
just really being comfortable with who you are with your partner, and your partner not judging you for that, and them vice versa feeling the same way.
Hmm.
So true.
Miss Deborah, in your work, do you find sometimes with married couples, I know sometimes you'll have maybe say, let's say the man is really sexual, and the wife maybe is not so experienced or comfortable with her sexuality.
Uh-oh.
Um, how would you how do you deal with it when one person is more open than the other?
Mm.
So, and that's where, you have to become that erotic detective. Okay. And so you have to get them to open up. You have to really, really dig in and see what the barriers are and the blockages,
Hmm.
that's preventing that person, from opening up and
Hmm.
becoming who they really are. So again, the erotic blueprint program that takes them through, this whole process of discovering and healing and, opening up because, so many people are held back by so many different things, whether it's trauma and like T talked about judgment, shame, all of
Hmm.
that,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
again, it goes back to how we were raised,
Hmm.
how
Mm.
we were taught. Most people don't know, like I said, I shared earlier, I'm a nurse practitioner. And, the women that I see, they don't know their bodies. When
Mm.
you talk about the vagina, they're like, oh, what is that down there? Well, you know what? I'm going to give you a mirror and I want you to look at it and I want you to point to it and tell me. They have never seen their vulva, never looked at it. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, you need to look at it. Not only, for health reasons,
Hmm.
you need to know what it looks like, what it feels like, when things are right. But if something goes wrong and there's something there that shouldn't be there, you need to know that.
Hmm.
You need to know. So all of your pleasurable spots and things like that, you need to be able to tell your partner, I want you to touch me here. I want you to lick me here. Do this. I like it when you do that. So if you don't know your own anatomy, how are you going to share that with somebody else?
Right. That is
No,
so true.
it's the same way with men. My specialty is sexual wellness. So for men and women, and as we get older, we're going to go through some things. Our hormones are going to be challenged. You know, we're going to get into issues with erectile dysfunction, you know. So a lot of people, they don't want to talk about that.
Mhm.
But
Right.
you know, I've done procedures to help people with things like that, you know. Um, so bridging all of that together, you need to know your body. So I'm big on teaching anatomy, you know, and all of
Mhm.
that because number one, we don't get it in school when we grow up. Our parents don't want to talk to us about it because they have that fear where if I talk to you about your personal body parts, you're going to be going out and having sex, right?
Right.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
well, we don't look at it like that.
Right.
So, you know, I did a class a few weeks ago, you know, to a group of women. It was a round table and it was on genital aging, you know. So it was like, okay, when's the last time you looked at your vaginal area? Well,
Mm.
I've never looked at it. Well, you need to look because
What?
guarantee you it has changed from when you were 15 and now you're 50. So
Right.
you need to look at it because
And
things
you know what?
are not going to be the same with how you know, receive pleasure. You know, there's things that, you know, all of us go through, you know, things
Right.
to men. And I'm going to have a course for men, you know, on penile aging and what happens. So that's coming up too. But yeah, it's so many different things
Yeah.
that are,
Society today teaches us to have, a low self-esteem of our own personal bodies, to
yeah.
not like them. I look through my old pictures and I'm like, God, I was so skinny back then. But back then, my thoughts are, oh, I need to lose a few pounds.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, if this roll wasn't here or this dimple wasn't here, I'd be a whole lot better off. Not being able to love the picture in the mirror at the time. But when you look back, you
Hmm.
realize that everything that you were judgmental of for yourself was unfounded and unwarranted. It's
Right.
the same thing, with women who do not, or men who do not look at their vaginal parts, their genitals. Um, most times I'm finding that they're not even wanting to look at their body because it is disgusting to them,
Hmm.
and they're passing off those thoughts of disgust to their mate. But when they are owned by that person, and they're passing it off saying, well, he don't want to see me naked. We have sex in the dark.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because he don't want to see me like that. Like, is that his words or yours? Whose words do these belong to? Because somebody who's having sex with you, they kind of like what they see
Mhm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They
And
kind
they
of
don't
like
necessarily see what you see.
right.
What I've learned is a lot of things that we're so concerned about, men aren't even thinking about. All they
Yeah,
know is that your clothes are off and they're trying to do what they did.
right.
They're not really tripping on the stuff that, we're so worried
Yeah.
about.
They're
Yeah.
not worried about that roll. They're not worried about that stretch mark.
Hmm.
Most guys like the fupa. You trying to lose the fupa and they want the fupa. I mean,
Mhm.
Hmm.
it is their preference. They chose you and they're with you because they like what they see. Men are visual. They like what they see. That's pretty much, if they like you, they like you. You're putting your dislikes for yourself on your mate, and you're having sex a whole different type of way when you could be free to be yourself if you just accept the fact that the things he see is not what the things I see is not what he sees. The things that I'm judging myself harshly for is not what he sees. It's kind of having that self discovery and loving every part of you. Love that roll, love that stretch mark, love that dimple, love that cellulite, love that
Miss
fupa.
Deborah, do you, in your program, do you dive in deep
Yes.
as regarding self love and
Yes.
their past or their childhood? And
Because that's a part of healing,
okay,
you know. But as a
so you
coach,
go to the roots.
As a coach, we don't go in the past,
Mhm.
Okay.
We
If
deal with the present.
right, and get them to move forward. So that's the difference between, a therapist and a coach.
Okay.
So
Right.
Very much so. Very much so.
yes, we start from here, where we are right now, and what's our goal? This is where we want to go and what we want to do, and what can we do to get there?
And as a coach, you'll be surprised. A lot of people have a lot of the answers to the questions that they have already.
Right.
Yes,
They
they do.
do.
Right. And a lot of people just need to hear what they are telling themselves from somebody else
Hmm.
before they will pay attention and adhere to the information they know to be true. You know, the
This is
omissions
empowerment.
of, right. You know, my husband doesn't love me. Is that your voice or is that his voice? Why do you feel he doesn't love you?
Yeah.
Oh, because he didn't come directly home. Okay. Why didn't he come directly home? What was the reason? Oh, he had to work late. Okay. And he called me while he was working and I stayed on the phone with him the whole time. It's just like, okay,
You're true.
let's break this down. Are we our worst enemy? Are we, being factual in the things we tell ourselves? So yeah, I get that. We can find ourselves, talking ourselves into stuff and being our worst enemy when we have these omissions that, sometimes we just need somebody else to tell us, to put it in our face, to put the mirror back in our face
Mhm.
and,
Yeah. I
ask, is that
tell
a true statement?
And
yeah, I tell a lot of people, there's a thin line between instincts and insecurities. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And
right,
a lot of times we confuse it. And back, to the subject that we're talking about, there's a lot of insecurities that we have. And we think
right,
that it's instinctual that, oh, this instinctually this person wouldn't like the way I look, or this person wouldn't like, you know, my physique, and that's instinctual
hmm,
for us to think when really it's not an instinct, it's
right,
insecurity.
right.
So
So true, so true.
yeah. And you remember the lady on the show, Sex, Love, and Goop, how she
Yes,
disrobed because the other person, she had an issue with her body, and so she did I think it was like a technique where she wanted her to focus on her body. These are my breasts, this is my stomach, this is my body. Just to get her to love and accept. you know,
right.
But
And it's,
yeah,
if you have someone who accepts themselves, their whole self, no matter what imperfections, and they'll put it, out there, that in itself is sexy as hell. You
yeah,
know,
Hmm.
for to find somebody who is not concerned with
yeah,
what anybody else thinks about them, they are sexy in their own mind and in their own right. They're gonna wear what they want to wear, do what they want to do, and it's no holds barred. Now you will be sitting back there looking like, well, if she can do that, then maybe I can
Exactly.
wear this bathing suit and not have to worry about this little bitty roll, So, I mean, it is something to see when you see somebody who loves theirself unconditionally, and I know that everybody deals with insecurities,
Right.
but it's that self-talk you have to tell yourself that, hey, you tripping.
mhm.
You cute. Stop tripping over that little pimple. Nobody is seeing it. Go on about your day like
I'm still
nobody is
fuckable.
there.
Right.
Right. I'm still fuckable.
That is
I'm,
right.
I'm gonna make everybody else's shirt to say that, okay?
Going to make mine. I'll take it.
Be fuck.
Okay. You can have a whole
Thank
lot
you,
of
Miss Deborah.
explaining. Yeah, it's her fault. She brought that up. She brought that. But okay, so this has been really, really great. We are talking again about erotic blueprinting or erotic blueprints. If you want to know what your erotic blueprint is, you can take the quiz on Deborah's page. She has a link for you to take it. And Deborah, give us that website again, please.
It is scarletlotuscoaching.com. So it's Scarlet with one T.
So you'll make sure
SCARLET.
y'all make sure you go there. You can take the test for yourself. You can take it with your significant other, and it is about bringing conversation.
Yeah.
So I mean, this in itself is a conversation piece. You know, take the test and discuss it with your significant other. See what your omissions are. See what where you can go from there. And a part of anything is just learning who you are, learning what your likes and dislikes are, what your turn-ons and turn-offs are. You might discover that you have some that have not been discovered or uncovered.
I'm so intrigued.
Yeah.
Right. And we are here if you need us. I'm Love's Passion, and that's the sexologist Deb. We're both certified clinical sexologists that can help you walk through the process. Now, Deborah, gotta get that out of my house. Deborah can give you a more in-depth view on your your erotic blueprint. But it is important to learn yourself, to know yourself. Feel free to take that test, discuss, come back and discuss it with us, because we are definitely gonna have a part 2 to this after everybody else takes the test, because I don't want to be the only one out here putting it out there. You know, I like to put y'all on
I'm
blast.
open to share after I take the test.
Yeah.
Now, Miss Deborah, I'm on your website actually right now.
Okay.
So we can take the test from your website?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. If you go to the page that says Meet Deborah,
Yes.
then it will flip over and you'll see it in that bottom right-hand corner.
Okay.
Okay.
You should.
Okay. I'll have the details next week, Aretha.
Okay. So
Okay.
on erotic blueprints, I do have a question. We did say earlier in the show there was the oh gosh, what did we say? The fifth one, which we didn't really even go into it.
The shapeshifter.
Yeah.
We didn't really go into it or touch on it. But for a shapeshifter,
They like everything.
right? But can't they at moments take on the persona of a sensual? They only want sensual this day.
Yes, they can.
So like a bipolar lover.
If you want to describe it that way. Yeah. They can be any one of those. They can conform.
I think I'm a shapeshifter, to be honest, but we'll see.
Yeah.
With a shapeshifter, what zone or what erotic would go with a shapeshifter well?
Well, I mean, they can match up with any of them really. But, they will get, the sense that they're a little bit too complex, for others, they get like, oh, I'm too much, and for that person. So, they really, really have to, hone in on, okay, my partner is this, okay? And I need to focus on, being the giver and then also being the receiver as well. So, yeah.
I'm a giver and struggle with receiving sometimes, to be honest.
You're a giver that struggles with receiving.
Why?
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe Deborah can tell me later.
Interesting. Interesting.
That's interesting. Interesting.
Honestly, I think I'm a little. I want to be in control more than out of control.
Makes sense.
So I think that's why it's that way. Not that I haven't received. I think I'm just more comfortable when I'm in control.
Yeah. You live on the side of dictating how things go.
And maybe that's the, the kink part of you.
Hmm.
Could be, but we'll see. Take your
Hmm.
So get it
test
done. So you know
Yeah, we'll see.
you're
I'm
a
gonna take
dom.
the test.
and really,
So you get it done.
when you take the quiz, be honest with your answers.
Right.
Think about it, okay? And give a honest answer, because it will, give you your results based on how you answer.
Hmm.
So if you really feel like, okay, no, I don't do that, then make sure you answer it appropriately.
Okay.
Because if you're just going through, oh yeah, 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 check, check, check,
Hmm. No, I'm gonna take my time with this one
yeah,
Mm.
because I know where my issues are rooted from. Even though you say coaching, we start from today, but I know where my issues are rooted from.
yes,
Mm.
So I think it would actually be good to have someone help me move away from that
hmm
and move forward.
and
Mm.
there's a lot with healing that comes into play with that.
Hmm.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
definitely
So
so.
true. So
So this is
true.
gonna be interesting. But I'm willing to share.
Yep.
You don't have to share. If you don't want to share, you
No,
don't
I'm
have to
willing. I don't
share
have to try. Okay.
that.
Yeah,
Okay, guys.
that's my background. I was willing to share.
Hmm.
So I guess, my mom, just to give you guys a little bit of background, you know, she had me when she was 16. And that's because, her parents back in that time, they didn't talk to them about
Hmm.
sex. So she vowed that her children would never have to go through what she went through.
Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
here she was 16 years old, having, a baby. My dad was 21. And these days, that would be considered rape.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sagittarius.
So she started teaching me when I was in elementary school. My mom was a nurse also. And here I was in elementary school taking all of this knowledge and sharing it with my friends on the playground. And they're calling me nasty, because I'm teaching them the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So all my life, I've been that person where I've wanted to share and give the right information to help people with their sex lives. So it's just a natural for me. So there's no shame, no judgment, none of that with me. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Love
I just want people to free themselves so they can be free with others.
it. Hmm.
Right. So
You know.
true. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes.
And when I say that, when I make that statement, I don't mean like, oh, just go out and have an orgy.
Right.
No, just to be able to free yourself from all the confines of shame
Bondage.
and all of that stuff that we grew up with,
Hmm.
Right.
so you can communicate with, your partner, your spouse, the person that you love and want to
Right.
share all of that with. So, yeah.
When, if, say, for example, if you're in a relationship and your partner's not sexually satisfying you,
hmm
do you give tips on how to have that conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There are different things that we go into that we discuss that will help them be able to do that.
And in your opinion, how important is it to be sexually satisfied in a relationship? If you, what if you can't get, what if they're not, just not capable of sexually satisfying you?
It's extremely important. Oh my God. You know how many health benefits we get
Mm.
from
Well, we
that?
talk about the benefit. We've talked about the benefits of kissing and
Yeah, all of
sex, and and everything. But if you can't get on the same page with your partner, what do you suggest?
So if it comes down to where your partner is just flat out unwilling
Mm-hmm.
to be a part of this,
Mm-hmm.
and you might have to make a tough decision. You have
Mm-hmm.
to make a tough decision. Okay, if this person just does not want to get on board and they're all about, blah blah blah, you know, you really may have to look at some things, you know. Mm,
But Deborah, don't you find that it is more so a communication block
yes.
that is hindering the satisfaction level? Because I find that, when people come to me, well, women come to me, and my husband, he just doesn't satisfy me. He don't want to, and I'm done, and I'm going to do this. Okay, why? I mean, it's more so
Mhm.
trying to figure out what the root cause is
That's
versus giving up, because we can start to have conversations at the wrong time.
hmm
Um, it just came from the doctor, just found out that, hey, his sperm count is low, and that's why his testosterone is, plummeting, and he's sleepy all the time.
yeah.
And
You
then you want to have the conversation on, well, you're not pleasing me. Well,
hmm
I got other things, so I'm just
Yes,
saying
I think
maybe
there's too
the
much
conversation
information
needs
today.
to be had at the right time, right place.
That's right.
Um, you know, because my theory is that any issue can be solved as long as two people are willing, able, and wanting to have that,
hmm
be discussed and to be dissected. Um, it might not be the right time to have that conversation. You might need to revisit it in a month or two when some things have changed, or when, some things have come to a different level of stress. So, you know, uh, in my practice, I do a lot of digging
hmm
and really finding a root cause
hmm
versus, okay, well, then let's figure out how to make you happy. Because sometimes we search for our own happiness and omit the fact that life is happening.
hmm
And
Yeah.
we have to deal with that and dissect that first.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's never going to be just one person, a one-sided deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
It's going
right.
to be both.
Yeah.
And like I talk about, I am really into the regenerative type, holistic care versus
Mm-hmm.
Western medicine. Now, we can take the little blue pill all we want to,
Mm-hmm.
but if our guys are having, erectile dysfunction issues, that blue pill, that's not going to solve the issue. It's
Mm.
likely a vascular issue. So you really need to get down to, okay, what's really happening here? You know, my veins are clogged, there's plaques there, my penis is not doing what it needs to do. So, I've done certain procedures that will regrow new blood vessels so they can get that blood flow. And that problem is solved without surgery, without
Mm-hmm.
the blue pill, and also you have to think about, other health factors. You have to guide them, through that. If they have sleep apnea, all these different things matter. Weight,
Yep.
it matters. And,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
us as women, when we start to have hormonal issues, you know, the whole myth about we don't need testosterone. Well, yes, we do.
Right.
We had it when we were in our 20s. That's why we
Mhm.
were more active, you know. And so I've done hormonal pellets, all that kind of stuff, vaginal laser, because we have urinary incontinence. If you've had babies, you have laxity and all of this stuff where you don't feel like, okay, my man doesn't fit me like a glove, hand in glove. Now he feels like a hot dog running down the highway here. What's going on? So getting down to the root cause of that,
Right.
figuring all that out without taking medicine,
Mm-hmm.
getting that taken care of, communicating, exploring, doing all of that. Yes. you can stay together. You can have the best sex life that you've ever had. Just because we get older, that doesn't mean that that part of us has to die.
Mm-hmm.
No, you should be having sex until you leave this earth. You really should. We are made to be connected together as humans. You know,
Right.
it's not just for, procreation.
Right.
Right.
It's so much more,
Mm-hmm.
so much more. And we're
Yeah.
taught the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught the opposite. So
So
yeah.
true. So true. I've always said, women are the only mammals on the earth that have the organ for sexual pleasure. And we are the least pleasured. How does that work? You
But
know,
pleasure is not all about the end goal of orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
right.
It's so much more to pleasure, and I teach all of that. And you would be surprised at what you really enjoy if you are just open, and relaxed and just experiencing all of that.
Yes.
Sometimes
So
that's better than having an orgasm. You can have a mindgasm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. So
right. So sex is like I always say, sex is an everyday conversation that starts as soon as you wake up and it continues when you go to bed. It's not something that just happens in the moment or 5 to 10 minutes and you keep moving on. The
right.
best analysis I seen was a sex worker that was talking about, well, the man will pay for an hour with me and we'll have sex for 10 minutes and the other 50 minutes is spent talking. So that's, kind of the epitome of, okay, get your rocks off and then we will connect,
Hmm.
you know, for, and I just thought that was really, really kind of eye opening
Hmm.
that, it's not all about, the wham bam, thank you, ma'am, but it's more so about making that human connection, finding someone you can be open and honest with that can see you, you see them, and they love you regardless, or even just like you because you are who you are and accepts the whole piece and the whole part of you that makes you 100% you.
Yeah, man. That's down my lane now. Now we talking down my lane because
Mm-hmm.
it starts up. You know what I mean? You gotta listen. I tell men all the time, and listen. She before she even has physical sex with you or intimacy with you, it starts mentally for her. It starts emotionally for her. Spiritually. So if you can't tap into that, if you can't do the things that's required to comfort those those feelings and those emotions, you lost. You lost already. You lost. Or you won't be able to maintain her
Right.
because you
Mhm.
can't you
You
can't
might get in, but you won't be able to maintain.
right, you won't
Right.
maintain. It just won't happen. So you gotta really be able to get to those levels. It's more than just sticking your penis in it. It's more than that. Rub her feet, rub her back, talk to her, rub her scalp, rub her hair. You know what I mean? Massage her. It's so much more
Spank her a
to
little
it.
bit. Depends on what she's into.
Yeah, all of that, all of that. You know what I mean? Energetic, sensual. You're all of it. You're kink, however you want it. But
Vice versa. It should be the same, for you, what we give you.
Facts,
Right.
facts.
In
Right.
in reality, I think there's just so much that so many of us are walking around. With there's
Carrying.
so much information that we don't have. I think a lot of us have just been going through the motions
Hmm.
for the
Right.
majority of our life and don't really have the idea of the joys of sex that we could potentially have.
Mhm.
Because we don't want to talk about it. I mean, and you don't want to be open, and people are ashamed.
Hmm.
But I'm very interested.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
interested in exploring.
Yeah. And that's what I
That's
call,
great.
sexual blindness.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so that's just the inability to see, the passionate possibilities that's available to us, due to blockages and barriers.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
There are those blockages again.
they are there.
Mm-hmm.
They are there, but
But you know what I find is really, really kind of strange, just with the people that are dating, they will lay with a person and make those uh energetic connections and bonds, but they don't want to talk about it.
mm,
Even something as simple as, I had a good time, did you? Or did you orgasm? Or, you know, how was it?
mm,
Those simple conversations you won't have, but you will do the act. Why? Why will you do the act, but you're afraid to talk about the act?
Right.
The
uh,
fear
rejection. That's a big one. You know,
Disappointment.
yes, I might really like this person, but I'm afraid they're not going to accept me. So I'm just going to put that fence around me, and we're just going to do this, and I can move on. And if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, oh well. I don't
right,
really get into the person.
right, and you don't even know the person. You didn't take the time out to even learn the last name. So how are you having great sex if you know nothing
Because
about?
they're sexual. If they're sexual, they don't need all that. Right, Miss Deborah.
That's right.
Sex
It's all about the
don't need all that. He just
But
yeah.
see,
needs to do it.
that's where you end up talking about, oh, I'm so lonely. I want to be in a relationship, but you making all of these nice sexual connections though, right?
Well,
Why
I've
are those
said
not
this
turned?
often. A lot of times we play ourselves because we settle for people and we settle for things.
Yes,
If
true,
you're an energetic, you don't settle for a sexual. You don't want that. You want to connect with someone.
right. But
You
you're
know,
looking for most people are looking for a connection via their genitals. They're not looking for a true connection, which is a
that's what
mental
those
connection.
sexuals do, not
But
those energetics.
if
So
you're
that's
looking for that type of connection and that's really not you, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be frustrated. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
be frustrated.
so the question is how important, we asked this question earlier, how important is sex? And it really, where do we rank sex in a relationship? Like where is it ranked? Where should it be ranked in a relationship? You think number one?
It's up there. It's up.
Really?
Yes, it should be up
Okay.
there with everything else.
Hmm.
Right.
Interesting.
You know,
Really?
it should not be, you know, here and here. It needs to be balanced. It really does.
Right. Because
Because
most relationships break up because of sex and money.
Do you think it should, when you say it should be balanced, Miss Deborah, do
Mhm,
you mean if it's this important to me, it should be this important to my partner?
that's
And
right.
if it's okay.
I mean, it
Okay.
So
be very
we get to
important.
determine the value, but
Yes,
we need to find someone we're more in line with.
but you need to make sure that you are respectful of that other person's value.
Hmm.
If they're not, you know, like here, there's no such thing as being, unequally yoked. Okay. The problem is they just don't know themselves. They have not discovered everything that can be discovered about themselves because of all of these barriers. Okay.
Right.
So once they find out and they communicate, okay, they talk about it, they speak this and they feed and they get satisfied, that
Hmm.
get that balance. Okay.
I have another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, in your line of work, do you, I'm not going to ask you for one, but do you receive testimonials from your clients sometimes?
Yes. And most of them, it's a private thing for them,
Right, right, right.
but they do express at the end, they talk about it and they tell me, you know we are so glad we went through this with you and you helped us do this. It changed our life so much.
Hmm.
Thank you, that kind of thing. But, even still, they've gone through the program. Most people don't want to put it out there. you know,
Right.
they did that because,
Right.
you know,
They don't want to be saw as not the expert on sex because they've
stuff.
been doing it their whole life.
Well, hey, there's a whole bunch of people not experts on sex.
Yeah,
Right.
A few of them.
Right.
It's always evolving,
Yes.
evolving.
So true.
It is.
So true.
Yeah.
All
This has
right,
been
guys.
great.
and here's the other thing too, and men and women need to know, intimacy is not just sex.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not. And I think a lot of times where we mess sex up is because we think intimacy is sex,
Hmm.
and where you could have great sex because of the intimacy. But if you only equate sex with intimacy, then you lose all of the other parts of intimacy, which creates great sex.
Hmm.
Right.
I think Ty's an energetic, sensual.
But he gonna take the test and let us know.
Yeah, I'll take the test.
Okay.
It's gonna
So
be
guys, this
I
has
love
been
it.
a
Thank you, Miss
great
Deborah, for all this information.
yes.
Yes, Miss Deborah, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for joining in with us. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy life and schedule to sit down and have some Sunday conversations with us. Um, we appreciate you greatly. You're welcome to come back anytime.
Miss Deborah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, one more thing. Because you are a nurse, would you ever be willing to come back? I'm 47. I turned 47
Hmm.
last week.
A
Would you
happy
be ever
birthday.
willing? Thank you. Would you be willing to come back and talk about women's health and
Sure.
when we get older, what to expect? Because I don't think women, uh, I mean, we know about menopause, we know, but I don't think that we're really prepared for what what happens, the mood swings, the sweats, the everything. And
Hmm.
I certainly don't, I mean, if we don't really want to talk about sex, we don't want to talk about if our body starts to fail us um
Yes.
uh, on some level. So
Yes, and that's one of the things that, I ask people, like I have this group that I do, does your healthcare provider ask you, how's your sexual health? When you go for your physical exams, your well woman exams, most physicians and even, PAs and nurse practitioners, they don't want to discuss your sexual health. I
mhm,
do. I
mhm,
do.
Mhm.
It's important.
mhm.
That's a part of that forbidden conversation. Your doctor's
Right.
not going to discuss it with you. They're not discuss. They don't want to discuss it with their people. So
And
why are
they learned about it. They learned about it, but they are
they got here
uncomfortable
somehow?
discussing it.
Mhm.
So I
Right,
discuss it with all of my patients.
I would
right.
love to have that conversation.
Yeah, that's a must do topic. Must do topic because
Yeah.
women are not talking about menopause, just like men are not talking about erectile dysfunction happening at 40.
And sometimes it happens earlier.
Or,
Mhm.
Right.
I was about to say, or earlier, it does.
Sometimes it happens earlier, and especially if you have, a health issue like diabetes.
Diabetes,
You know,
congestive heart failure,
right.
edema. You carry a lot of water, so it's a lot of things that go on that men don't know about, or it's a lot, man. Even men being overweight, like you talked about earlier, being overweight. I read an article for every 80 to 100 pounds you're overweight, you lose an inch off of your penis. You know what I mean? So
That
you
was,
know,
you were going where I was going,
yeah.
if you think about it, that fat pad,
Hmm.
were to lose that or pull it back,
Yeah,
how much does your penis
more.
thin out?
Yeah, your shaft is so much longer because you lose that fat pad. So yeah,
Yes,
it's a lot. It's a lot to it. It's a lot to it.
it is. It
Well,
is.
that is a definite must do topic. Very, very interesting. And as a member of the older crew, I would be very interested in having that conversation, questions and answers. I'm pretty sure we'll have a lot of those questions because there's a lot of us that are just getting older as time goes by.
That's right.
All right, guys, this has been an amazing show yet again. Another topic with just real people talking about real conversations that matter, keeping the conversation of sex open and honest and pure. I do appreciate everybody for joining in tonight. Those that participated in the chat, for those that are here now participating, we do appreciate you being on. We are here every Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, here on Twitch and simulcast on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to program us in to be notified next Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and for Wednesday's conversations on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Twitch. This is I'm Love's Passion. We have the beautiful co-host Deb, and Peanut Butter was having some technical difficulties. We know and dearly missed her commentary on this topic because
I would have loved for her to meet Miss Deborah.
What?
I'm sure she got a lot of questions.
Mhm.
And we have our co-host Ty Bear and our special guest host, sexologist Deborah. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. We couldn't do this without you. And this has been Love's Passion Chat. Thank you guys for another amazing night and
our
topic.
20th show.
Yes, it's our 20th show. We'll see you again in the 40th, and we're gonna probably have a party.
Yeah, because next week that means we'd be able to drink.
We'll be 21.
Yes, we'll be 21. Look, we're gonna do Wednesday's conversations at a bar then.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good night, and we're signing out. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Miss Deborah.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it.